Within the past 5 days, someone conducted 2 rocket launches from Lebanon at Israeli territory. Is the ceasefire now over? And who did it? Hi, I'm Hanan Lischinsky. Welcome to another All Israel News. Today we'll try to find an answer to this riddle that I posted at the beginning, and more importantly, look both at the background of the headline-grabbing incidents over the last couple of days on the Lebanese border, as well as try to give an analysis or maybe a very cautious prediction of what's going to happen with the ceasefire on on the border between Israel and Lebanon, and whether things will quiet down or continue to escalate between Israel and Hezbollah especially. Now, to remind you and give some background, of course, Hezbollah started to fire at Israel in support of Hamas the day after the October 7 invasion. So on October 8th, Hezbollah started firing at Israel. This gradually escalated until Israel in September of last year conducted the now infamous beeper operations, starting its more intense strikes against Hezbollah, before finally in October starting a broad-scale ground operation into Lebanon, which lasted for about 2 months until the end of November, when Israel on the one side and the Lebanese state, kind of in a way representing Hezbollah, signed a ceasefire agreement. And over the coming 60 days, Israel gradually withdrew its ground forces from Lebanon until at the end, Israel only held and is now holding 5 points in Lebanese territory, 5 outposts that are close to the border. And this is where things now stand with this very tense ceasefire. Now, since the end of November last year, things have more or less been quiet along the border. There have been some violations. The most egregious of the violations from the Israeli side was when Hezbollah shelled in December, if I'm remembering correctly, launched several mortar grenades at the area of Mount Dov, which is an unpopulated area in the north of Israel, between the Golan Heights, or on the Golan Heights border, but still on the Lebanese side. However, Israel has struck repeatedly, dozens of times by now, wherever it has identified Hezbollah trying to restore infrastructure that was destroyed during the fighting, or which has happened often, try to salvage weapons or equipment and move it from within southern Lebanon, or in some instances from southern Lebanon, maybe try to move it north in order to repair or restore its capabilities, whatever that may be. Israel has struck these kinds of incidents, attacked in these kinds of incidents dozens of times since the ceasefire. However, overall, the ceasefire has held, and there has been no massive attack, no massive rocket fire, missile fire against Israel from the northern border. And this is what the situation was until around 2 weeks ago. Now, 2 weeks ago, there were 6 rockets that were launched from southern Lebanon. So the territory where Hezbollah is supposed not to be anymore, was supposed to withdraw from under the terms of the ceasefire. Someone launched 6 rockets at the town of Metula. 3 of them fell short in Lebanese territory, and 3 were intercepted by the IDF. And then last Friday, so 5 days ago at this point, again, someone in southern Lebanon launched 2 rockets at the town of Kiryat Shmona, the largest town in the northern Galilee region. Again, one fell short, one was intercepted, and in both instances, the Israeli Air Force conducted very intense, much larger strikes than what we saw during the preceding months of the ceasefire. And this on Friday also included the first strike of its kind in months, as Israel struck in Beirut, in the Dahya area, the stronghold of Hezbollah in the capital of Beirut. The Israeli army gave a warning for a certain building in this neighborhood, apparently conducted up to 3 roof knock warning strikes before then flattening the building. And this caused widespread panic in the area, since the IDF hadn't attacked in this manner for over 2 months. I think even since the start of the ceasefire, so for 4 months even, Israel hadn't attacked in Beirut. However, just yesterday evening, Israel struck again in Beirut without any warning. Yesterday evening, There was a pinpoint precise strike that hit or appeared to damage at least 3 floors of an apartment building, leaving the other floors untouched. And today in the morning, the IDF and also Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar confirmed that the IDF had struck there. It had attacked, it turns out, an operative who worked both for Hezbollah and the Iranian IRGC, the Revolutionary Guards. As a Hezbollah and Iranian operative, had worked together with a Hamas cell, apparently, in order to conduct a terror attack against Israeli civilians. Now, there have been all kinds of reports, the unverified reports. I just mentioned this. At this moment, this is very unverified, but there are claims that this terror attack that was being prepared was supposed to hit an Israeli plane, apparently in Cyprus, taking off from Cyprus, landing in Cyprus. It's not clear. These are unconfirmed reports. What the IDF confirmed is that this guy was about to advance, about to carry out a terror attack against Israeli civilians in the immediate time frame, and that is why he was struck without any warning yesterday evening in Beirut once again. So now, what does all of this mean? That's of course the big question, and in my view, the most important question, and the question that once again has prompted maybe conspiracy type theories, or many people are saying it might be fake, it might be this. The point is, Hezbollah has denied responsibility for the rocket launches against Israel. It hasn't commented on the terror attack that one of its operatives planned to carry out, but it denied with official statements. Several officials came out to Lebanese media and so forth and denied responsibility for the rocket strikes. That much we can say. And Lebanese authorities, so the authorities of the state, which is, if not hostile, at least it's not in the same camp as Hezbollah. These are rivaling forces, you could say, the Lebanese state authorities and the Hezbollah terror group. The Lebanese authorities have so far said that they have arrested 12 or 13 suspects in the rocket launches, and some of them, it said, are Palestinians, some of them are Syrians, and some of them are Lebanese as well. After these rocket launches, but before yesterday's second strike in Beirut, the new Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem gave a speech for the Al-Quds Day and the end of Ramadan and so forth. And he commented on these rocket launches and again reiterated that Hezbollah had nothing to do with them. But he said, very interestingly, he put the responsibility on the Lebanese state to deal with these Israeli aggression, as he called it, of course. But he very clearly tried to distance Hezbollah from these launches and from the responsibility really to react to them. So within Lebanon, of course, within a state that is hostile to Israel, well, most people are hostile to Israel, there's the expectation that someone will react against Israel, against this attack on Lebanon. And Hezbollah really distanced itself from it, saying they want nothing to do with it. And Qassem, at the end of his speech, kind of gave a very, very weak threat against Israel, that if the Lebanese state will not respond, then Hezbollah might respond. And this, remember, comes from a terror organization which is very proud if and when they carry out attacks against Israel or even the US and other countries in the past. They have no problem admitting, and they're in fact boasting about things like that. And they're also very proud of their role as the protector of Lebanon in the past. And so the fact that Qassem is saying these things publicly and risking losing face in this way really indicates that Hezbollah is on the ropes and is really weak in this situation here. And for me personally, and most of the experts I saw are agreeing on this issue, this seems to indicate that Hezbollah in fact did not launch the rockets at Israel. And whoever else did it, that's a whole different question. Hezbollah still has control over large parts of southern Lebanon, so the IDF struck Hezbollah, in response, which in my view is the correct response, because Hezbollah should be taken as the responsible party in this instance. But that doesn't mean that Hezbollah did directly order and launch these attacks. It might be that Iranian militias, Palestinian militias, especially Hamas or the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, could just as well have launched these rockets at Israel, and that at this point in time seems the most likely the most likely option to me in this instance. However, another point, and a very critical point, is that if we're looking not just at the rocket launches against Israel, but also at this attempted terror attack that apparently was really just about to happen when Israel struck in Beirut yesterday evening, as I mentioned, this seems to indicate that, in fact, Hezbollah finally really felt the need to, again, save face, to save its honor in the Lebanese society, in the Lebanese public. And this is something that we've seen often in the past, that when a terror organization, be it Hamas or be it Hezbollah, wants to respond, wants to save face by striking against Israel without drawing an immediate response, this is what they will do. They will try to carry out a terror attack somewhere else, either in Europe or, for example, with Hezbollah, we've seen this a couple of years back when they attacked Israelis in Bulgaria. There have been several attempted terror attacks against Israelis in Cyprus. So in my estimation, this is what's happening here. Hezbollah tried to carry out a terror attack far from Lebanon in order to have plausible deniability, to be able to say that it isn't directly involved, or maybe it would be Iran that's involved and not Hezbollah directly. Again, all signs point to Hezbollah being very weak at this moment, and it doesn't want to invite the resumption of fighting or of large-scale airstrikes that would further weaken it and in fact threaten to destroy its position within Lebanon, which for this terror group is the most important thing at the moment. Now, if we're summing all of this up, again, Hezbollah has been very weakened both by direct Israeli military action in the past months, as well as by the reverberations of all that's happened around it. The collapse of the Assad regime has cut off many of its smuggling routes for money as well as for weapons. And the new Lebanese presidency and the new Lebanese government are both more hostile to Hezbollah, so it's under pressure domestically as well. All of this, of course, is excellent for Israel. But one thing I want to point out here at the end, the residents of northern Israel, especially those that live very close to the border and who were evacuated at the start of the fighting over a year and a half ago, many of them are outraged by the renewal of fire on the northern border, by the renewal of rocket launches, and they don't care if it's Hezbollah, Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, or whoever. They are rightly, in my opinion, outraged at the government that after a year and a half of war, and despite Hezbollah being weakened and all of that may be true, but they still cannot feel safe when they're going back to their homes. Cities like Kiryat Shmona, for example, where there is, I think, 30,000 residents, the city is still a ghost town by all reports. I haven't been there in a while, but many residents are still afraid to go back there, especially when they have children who they will have to send to schools and kindergartens and so on. If you still have the fear that some rocket from somewhere fired by whoever might hit your child at any moment, of course you will not feel safe returning to your home. So this is an ongoing issue for the Israeli government. And in my opinion, again, the strikes in Beirut sent a very strong signal, and that is the way to go if Israel really wants to restore security and deterrence on the northern border, short of going in and destroying Hezbollah, of course, which doesn't seem to be an option at the moment. So coming to an end here, let me just venture a last kind of prediction. It seems that things at the northern border will now continue as they are, largely quiet, sometimes flare-ups, but as I mentioned several times, it seems like Hezbollah is weak for now. They're not interested in a renewal of the conflict. The Israeli army still maintains large troop numbers in the north. But one thing to note here at the end is that all cards are on the table if and when something happens with Iran, either a US strike against the nuclear program or a joint US-Israeli strike, or even if just Israel goes at it alone. In that case, no one knows what will happen, and this is still intimately connected to the situation on the northern border and Hezbollah. So follow All Israel News to continue to receive more updates. We're following all of these issues very closely. Leave a like on this video, tell us, leave a comment, tell us what you thought about all of these issues. And thank you for joining me again on All Israel News Update.